And Kayleigh McEnany, White House press secretary. Good morning to you, Kayleigh.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. What was your reaction yesterday to Joe Biden going after President Trump on the economy? Actually, let's play it, and then you can get your we'll get your reaction on the other side.
President Trump keeps talking about how great this economy is, how great the stock market is, but it hadn't been so great for the rest of us. Millions of people out of work, evictions on the rise, 20 million people worrying about where they're going to lose their home. What in God's name else can this guy do? Let's look at one simple fact. This president is on track to be the only president in modern history to end up with fewer jobs at the end of his term than existed in America when he began his term.
Kayleigh, is that fair? We just went through, or we are in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, the one thing for Joe, he wants to talk about simple facts. I have a few simple facts for him. Let's start with the fact that Biden oversaw the slowest economic recovery since World War II. He had his bite at the apple. That's what they delivered. Compare that to President Trump's fastest economic recovery in modern history. The CBO told us that we were supposed to have double-digit unemployment until the end of the year. We are in single digits right now, record number of jobs created, outpacing the rest of the world in terms of an economic recovery. So we're on track with the jobs president, but the pathetic record of Biden stands very clear, and those are simple facts.
All right. The other thing that everyone's talking about, was excited about, but it seems to be politicized, is the race to get a vaccine. The president said December. I'm hoping for maybe earlier in November. Joe Biden says the president's got a credibility issue. Let's listen.
I would want to see what the scientists said.
Would you trust Fauci? That's the answer?
I want full transparency on the vaccine. One of the problems is the way he's playing with politics. Is he said so many things that aren't true. I'm worried if we do have a really good vaccine, people are going to be reluctant to take it. And so he's undermining public confidence. But pray God we have it. If I could get a vaccine tomorrow, I'd do it. If it cost me the election, I'd do it. We need a vaccine, and we need it now, as quickly as we can get it. But we have to listen to the scientists.
Was the president going to come up with the vaccine himself, or was he going to depend on the scientists?
He's going to depend on the scientists, which is what he's done every single step of the way. What you see Democrats doing is very, very dangerous. They are literally playing politics with people's lives here by sowing doubt about a vaccine. We have renowned experts over at Operation Warp Speed that are working on this. President Trump has tore through bureaucratic barriers so we can get a safe, effective, and timely vaccine. And once again, compare that to Biden, where they promised a vaccine. They vastly underperformed. And you have Biden's advisor back in the Obama-Biden days saying it's a pure miracle, fortuity, that swine flu wasn't a mass casualty event of our time.
You know, Kayleigh, last time you were with us, we asked you about that music. You would think that you would be able to figure out where it's coming from.
That's right. Apparently, it's some sort of protest. But what's funny is I don't think the viewers can hear the music, so they think that we're just hearing this music in our heads.
No, we can hear it.
We can definitely hear it. Hey, you know, clearly the president, as he goes to Jupiter, Florida today, and then to North Carolina as well, he's going to be talking about the environment today down in Florida, where people are very concerned about the red tide and blue algae. But he's also going to be talking about the chaos in the streets and the economy. Now, one of the things that Hogan Gidley put out a statement yesterday talking about the differences between the president and Joe Biden. And one of the things he said was that Joe Biden is promising to raise taxes on more than 80% of taxpayers by $4 trillion. That's a lot of money. On social media, you see people talking about he's going to double our taxes and things like that. Where are you getting that figure? He's going to raise $4 trillion on 80% of the people.
Yeah, well, just one simple proposal. Look at the payroll tax. On Capitol Hill, you have a Democrat there proposing to roll back the president's payroll tax forgiveness. This is a huge tax that forgives, that benefits mostly middle and low income workers. And at the same time, we're not touching Social Security because the money is coming out of the general fund to pay for this. Just simply the payroll tax. Democrats will pull that back, and also the Trump tax cuts.
But doesn't a majority of the $4 trillion come from people making more than $400,000 a year?
Now, when you look at the Trump tax cuts, what they've done is benefit mostly low and middle income Americans as a percentage. And the payroll tax cuts in particular, that's for people making under $100,000. It is a regressive tax. And we know that low and middle income workers, the vast majority of their taxes come from that payroll tax. So that's what this president has prioritized in the midst of a pandemic. And you'll have Joe Biden and others rolling back those Trump tax cuts and not forgiving the payroll tax, which President Trump has promised that he would do.
So, Kayleigh, the Senate is heading back to work today. What's the latest on the COVID relief?
Yeah, right now, again, it's Nancy Pelosi playing politics. She has been fundamentally unserious every step of the way here. They would ask for a certain number of school funding. We would exceed that amount, and then they would reject it. She's saying she wants $2.5 trillion, but won't say what that money will go to. Democrats want a bailout for blue states. And look at the priorities here. When this president put out EOs to help stop evictions and to that payroll tax cut I mentioned and other items, what was Nancy Pelosi doing? Vacationing and going to a hair salon when no one else in California, or in her area at least, had the benefit of that.
Yeah, well, the rubber hits the road evidently is money to states and who's it going to go to and where it's going to end up. Meanwhile, the other big story that's been resonating over the last 3 days is Jeffrey Goldberg's Atlantic magazine report that said that the president called those who died in World War I suckers and some other disparaging remarks and losers. And veterans in particular. He says he has anonymous sources and more are coming forward. We did note John Bolton told Martha McCallum last night, who's not a fan of the president, that it didn't happen and he was there. Zach Fuentes, an aide to General Kelly, says it didn't happen and he was there. Who else was there that you like to hear from?
Well, I've heard from enough people. I've heard, in fact, from 19 on-the-record sources who put their names on their testimony. And those 19 sources, more than a dozen of which have first-hand accounts, have dismissed this, said it is fundamentally untrue. You have a liberal activist publication in The Atlantic proffering these absolute lies about President Trump. And again, anonymous, cowardly anonymous sources won't put their name on their allegations, but you have now almost 20 people putting their names on this and saying that this is fundamentally untrue. And this president loves our veterans. I see it each and every day. He deeply cares about our military. And this is Democrats trying to wedge veterans away from a president that has done more for them than any president in the history of our country.
All right, Kayleigh McEnany.